Pluto TV has a very novel strategy to lead it into the future. The free TV and movie platform just released some interesting details about their place in the universe of free TV, and we're gonna break it down. Welcome to How to Watch Free TV, home of the Free TV podcast, and let's talk about Pluto TV and the future of free TV. This week, Pluto TV announced they were expanding their offering with some exclusive channels. The kicker? All of these channels are based around fan favorites from the past. What's Pluto's plan? Back to the future. Well, not like that. On June 1st, viewers can watch these series on the platform. Heart of Dixie, Arrow, The 100, My Wife and Kids, and Everwood are all getting their own channels on Pluto TV. And there's an on-demand option if you like to hop in on specific episodes as well. Now, at first glance, a lot of those shows feel kind of random. But one thing ties all of these disparate programs together. They all did massive numbers on broadcast television or basic cable before they ever made their way to free streaming. That broadcast popularity is the key to Pluto TV's strategy moving forward. Namely, find shows with large existing fan bases and try to capitalize to the best of their ability. Other paid streamers employ similar strategies, but they're the ones that make all the IP we talk about on social media all day. Netflix's entire deal now is to craft zeitgeist-cracking shows and keep those eyeballs and subscriptions rolling in. For Pluto, they're looking at it as, why buy new when I can buy new to me? Anybody who's bought a used car knows exactly what I'm talking about. Let someone else do all of that. Let me explain further. Pluto TV dug into their internal viewership numbers and found something interesting. A frankly startling number of Gen Z viewers prefer programming from the 2000s and even the 90s compared to shows from now. Any acknowledgement of that idea has to reckon with the fact that streaming prices have exploded from the late 2000s to right now. Check out my video on this subject if you're wondering exactly how much inflation we're talking about. Here Pluto is singling out 72% of Gen Z viewers who prefer to watch things that came on basic cable about 2 decades ago. Pluto TV's own press release highlights hits like Charmed, Fringe, The X-Files, Twin Peaks, and Ghost Whisperer as big successes that are driving viewership among Gen Z and beyond. That's viewers 18 to 34. So, knowing that a large part of their youngest demographic uses free TV to watch old TV, Pluto TV is doubling down. In fact, I think they're like tripling down, honestly. Which leads me to point number 2, the return of old TV in the streaming space. There are tons of factors here, but it's hard to ignore the idea that Gen Z probably doesn't have the disposable income that millennials and Gen Xers enjoyed at the same age. All these figures are a bit understated when you take into account some of the unique challenges that Gen Z has faced when compared with my generation or the ones previously. Ask a millennial or Gen Xer about their experience as a young adult, and they'll probably tell you they had it kind of hard and they didn't have a ton of extra money lying around too. But one quick look at the newspaper would tell you it's a lot harder to go to the movie theater or entertain yourself with the hobbies we all enjoyed as kids now than it was in the mid-90s or even the early 2000s. As a result, my Gen Z friends have figured out that streaming services like Tubi, Roku Channel, and Pluto TV are absolutely great options for them. Heck, if they're watching paid streamers, the ad-supported tiers of things like Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, or HBO Max are a must because it'll cut down on cost in the long run. This reality has given platforms like Tubi and Pluto TV a strong foothold where they might have gotten ignored in previous eras of entertainment. After all, as I'm well aware, the best things on TV are absolutely free. In the past, something like Pluto TV would have been looked at as an easy way to knock out some ad revenue from the existing catalog. But Paramount is learning that Pluto TV is a destination for young adult viewers. They might not spring for Paramount Plus, but they'll gladly click into Pluto TV to watch some old favorites, especially when they don't have to log in. Man, they might make a login because it's free. When they announced these new channels, Cindy Holland, the chair of the direct-to-consumer team at Paramount, had this to say: free streaming is expanding faster than any other segment of the market, and 18 to 34-year-olds are our fastest growing audience. We're building a more deliberate and curated experience for our consumers that delivers real value to our partners. Free streaming doesn't have to be a warehouse, it is a destination. So, what makes these old shows so special? And in turn, how does that make Pluto TV into a destination? Well, the answer is in fandom. Namely, these audiences are already tested. And that leads us to our third and final point. Audiences don't want new, they want good. We all have shows from the last decade that have captivated us. These can come from the most surprising places, but shows like The Office, Friends, The Simpsons, Scrubs, The Nanny, New Girl, Bones, CSI have stayed in the mix in the Nielsen ratings and more lately. The secret to that success is predicated on a bit of nostalgia, but it also has a lot to do with the shows having good bone and relating to viewers that come to them whenever they meet them. I'll let Will Gurman over at Pluto TV explain. The data tells us that younger audiences don't want new for the sake of new. They want good. Heart of Dixie, Arrow, The 100, and Everwood are shows with cultural staying power. Viewers know what they're starting, they can binge the complete run from day one, and they don't have to wonder if it's worth their time. More than 400 episodes of television people already love, exclusively on Pluto TV. That's a real answer to decision fatigue. How else would you explain Zoomers flocking to shows that are old enough to drive? These are programs that came well before HD TV in a lot of cases. What works might not be the latest and the greatest. It might just get the job done. And that is useful info for someone trying to make sense of the TV landscape in 2026. Imagine you're on the strategy team for one of these major networks. You're owned by a massive studio, but you have basically no budget. You've been blessed with a massive install base of customers and viewers. How do we get notoriety and possibly grow this thing? Well, in the mid-2000s on basic cable and expanded cable, you leaned into what worked before and you did it on the cheap. And it worked then, so why wouldn't it work now? I speak from personal experience here. It's a long process to get viewers on board with your vision. But once they feel good about your programming, maybe they'll be willing to follow you into some deeper waters and take some more risks with you. New content on streaming platforms can be a risk, frankly. You just don't know when this new show that you've started is going to end. Will I get to see the planned finale? Will I get to see a satisfying conclusion for all these characters I've been watching for an entire season of television? Basically, is my time going to be respected? And hey, I'm okay with that ambiguity a lot of the time, but a lot of viewers absolutely detest that setup. Having a show that's complete or close to complete with over 100 episodes in the barn is such a luxury. It helps eliminate that trepidation. As Pluto calls it, decision fatigue. Ugh. The idea of not knowing what to watch ends the battle before we even get out. We've all sat in front of a Roku or a smart TV with a bunch of tiles on the screen, paralyzed by the number of choices in front of us. But that's more the rigors of modern life than it's the fault of Pluto TV or any other streaming service. So yeah, Pluto TV's new strategy is one that's paid dividends in the past with a sort of special twist. During the broadcast TV era, syndication was the lifeblood of the entire operation. This time, we're doing a similar thing, but with a massive pool of shows. But because they've already aired and the rights are so transient now, we can see things leap platforms to new audiences and gain new fans where maybe they weren't exposed to it the first time. And maybe most importantly, it's just good programming and it's good for your wallet. Heart of Dixie, My Wife and Kids, Arrow, and The 100 all hit Pluto TV on May 1st. So you've got some free TV for you to watch. Like they said, over 400 episodes and channels just to throw on in the background to keep you company while you do whatever you're doing. If you like what we do here, subscribe at How to Watch Free TV. We've also got a free newsletter that gives you 3 recommendations every week. That's howtowatchfree.tv. If I may say so myself, there's a delightful balance of old and new in that newsletter for you. Follow along for interviews, conversations, analysis, news, and everything from the world of free TV. Hit that bell for notifications, and remember, the best things on TV are absolutely free. We'll catch you next time.